So here we go. Welcome to spring. Well, the theory of spring is upon us. The actual spring itself is missing. Yeah, we have friends upstate that just got snow and ice, and people in Wisconsin got, I don't know, like 1.5 feet and crazy weather. Anyway, I'll try and be brief. Really, I will. I have to finish making this drop and get it up in my Etsy shop, so I don't have time to go on and on and on. But I was working with this and getting it prepped for going into Etsy. I just wanted to kind of show it off a little bit because it's an exceptional stone. And let me move my little mascot guys out of the way, the penguins. You know, people ask, like, hey, what's the deal with the penguins? Well, they're penguins. That's the deal. And they're like a mascot or something. It started in the beginning when I started making videos. I've had them out on my bench forever and a day. And it's just one of those things. Anyway, let me check something here on my mic. Yeah. All right. That should be fine. So I got this a while ago. And it was a beautiful skin, kawa. The skin Japanese called kawa. The side has this interesting layer here that, at a glance you might think that's like a karasu or something, but I don't believe it is. What I think it is just like a layer within layer, And you have these nice saw marks, and saw marks go all around, and yeah, nice stone, big chunk, like, that's heavy, no joke. A lot of my stones are smaller, like, for example, like this, right? Copa size, it's Maruichi, real Maruichi, not that crap that you see on the internet now. People stamping those things up in their garages all over town. Yeah, I said it. All right, so, yeah, I'm sure there's some legitimate ones out there. I just, I've seen a lot of fake stuff recently and seen a lot of garbage and a lot of misrepresented stones. I got a guy sending me a piece of Tsushima, and he's telling me it's 12K. It's not even 7K. A lot of interesting stuff going on out there. Anyway, so back to this stone. This is Mizu. Mizu Asahi. Mizu. People want to get like crazy about names and stuff. It doesn't pay. It gets in your way. Arguing about the name, the color, the stamp, the town it was made in, who cut it, under what sign. Waste of time. Waste of time. Now, when this is dry, it's Mizu, right? Right now, you can see there's no Mizu going on. So let's just call it Asahi, which is your basic green. But look how consistent this is. I mean, it's freaking ridiculous. All right. This is part of a trio of stones. This is the second one to get shipped to me. The first one, I have one of my friends in Japan he's more neurotic than like I can explain, and would not send all three stones in the same package. Wouldn't do it. He was worried that if it got lost, and they never get lost, so I don't know where he's going with that, but he said if it got lost, it would be like, a terrible thing to have three such awesome stones get lost. One came and went already. This is here, and the other one, for whatever reason, I can't get it sent to me. There's some sort of block going on with that particular box. He's been busy, and I don't know, there were problems with shipping, and EMS is nuts. And, we had a package, an EMS package disappear. It didn't disappear. It just took forever. Something to do with, what do you call it, weather in the eastern seaboard, and so maybe some of his paranoia is legit. This Tomo, And I know it sounds like I'm killing my stone, and people get all like, they get zen, they have to make slurry like this, and like, I don't do that, maybe I'm like the worst role model in wet shaving, but yeah, I don't get too wrapped up over stuff. If I have a couple of marks on my stone, I'll lap them out with 6 or 1200X wet dry. Yeah, whatever. It's just shaving. It's just honing. I don't bang on my stone with hammers. All right. But doing this, it doesn't hurt the stone. I'm not saying go out and do it, but no reason to have a hairy canary. Anyway, so when I got this, I lapped it out and made it nice and flat. And the first time I put a blade on it, it was like, oh my God, this is nice. And like, I'm having that moment like right now. All right. The honing sensation, the feedback, if you will, it's just nuts. It's like velvet in a way. It feels like wet velvet, but less friction than wet velvet. So it's kind of like wet velvet that's hard. I don't know. I dare say that a beginner might struggle with this because it's like kind of it's not that the feedback is subtle or missing or quiet. It's all right there and all. It's just, like that Maruichi I just showed you a minute ago, right? I know it still has stamps on it because I can't bring myself to lap them off, but I've honed on it a few times, and, well, maybe more than a few. And wish I knew what that sweeping sound is. Where it's coming from, I don't know. Oh, I know what it is. Yeah. This blade has a warp up in it. I forget sometimes. So basically what I have to do is I have to roll. All right? See me roll? All right? If I don't, what happens is in part of my stroke, the blade effectively feels like it's coming up off the stone. It's not coming up. It just is up. And that's what you're using to roll to counteract. Anyway, I'm talking to you and I'm not paying attention to the geometry, and I'm picking up that sweeping sound, and there goes another one. See, that's too much roll. Anyway, I'm a little thrown off. I have a new die. This is gorgeous, right? Looks like something made in a junkyard. I'm just experimenting with it, so the height is a little different for me. And unlike some other people who hone, I don't think you need, there we go, to have like a perfect height to position your elbow in a particular axis. I just think you need to have like something like kind of consistent, like every time you hone, it should be like sort of in the same place. Now, the problems arise when your stones are different thicknesses. So if the bottom is always the same. If I put on a really thick stone like my big ass shobu, it's going to come up to here, so now I'm up. So what I could do with that is just use a couple of pieces this thickness, half of this, and it sort of counters that and puts the honing plane back in the same place. Anyway, that's not the point. The point. What is the point? Do you have a point, Keith? Yes. The point is that this is a killer stone. Okay, the honing feedback it's hard. It's a very hard stone. It's not super hard. It's very hard. The sensation of honing is it's totally without grainy or gritty. There's no pebbly anything going on in there. This slurry right here, if I continue to work it, and I'm not going to stay on camera the whole time to work it to where it'll do what I'm about to tell you it does. But what happens is it becomes the most psychotically cool, creamy, pasty feeling. Mostly creamy, a little bit of paste. What's the difference between cream and paste? Well, do you remember Elmer's paste? Remember how thick and kind of foamy, sticky kind of thickness it is? Not like honey is thick, but thicker, more like marshmallow fluff. But Not exactly like that. But, the creamy thing is like, people say like yogurt. What kind of yogurt? What are you talking about? You're talking about Fay? You're talking about Chobani? You're talking about Dannon? What type of Dannon? There's like 8,000 types of Dannon now. So I'm not going to say it's like yogurt. But the creamy sensation is really sort of like a little bit like the filling in a Boston cream donut. All right? That type of creaminess. That's what I got here. This is like it's almost obscene. It's so good. It's not going to be a terribly expensive stone, but it's not going to be inexpensive either. The 3 stones I told you about, they came out of a collection, so when I get stones like that, sometimes they cost a little bit more, and that is what that is. But, it's amazing. Those stones come to me, and it's exactly like what it was told to me. I don't have, cracks coming up and weirdo inclusions and some sort of inconsistency in the top. And, I see stones like that for sale all the time. People send me emails. They're like, oh, is this stone worth buying? And it's like, well, I don't advise on other people's stones. It's not fair for me to have an opinion about a stone another seller has on the market, so I usually politely decline to give an opinion, but still I see these things and I look at them and I'm like, oh, I would not buy that. And sometimes it's not even, just an eBay thing, but, I don't want to go there right now. It's one of those things. When you buy a lot of stones, if you're working with like a wholesaler or something, I don't. But if you do, you wind up with like, I'm just throwing the number out there. You wind up with like 7 great stones and then 3 turds, But if it's your business, you're bound to sell those 3 turds. So you have to figure out a way to do that. That's one reason I don't deal with wholesalers. Anyway, so I don't work in that market. I go for a little bit higher class options, and I wind up with stones like this. I just don't wind up with a lot of them. I just wind up with, a few stones, and that's fine because I don't really have a business. I have an Etsy shop, and it's more like a hobbyist thing. Anyway, this stone is killer, and, when you're out there and you're buying a stone, you're buying a Jnat, you're looking for a Jnat, one of the things that may be of interest, and this is my point, and it is where I'm going, is your feedback. I just came across an old post on a forum where one of the elders brought up this little tidbit. He's like, feedback counts. It does, because this is like a symbiotic relationship. The stone is talking to you. It's talking to you, right? You. And that's what helps you make a better edge. So, let's say it wasn't honing. Let's say you had a job working on, I don't know, ships. You work on ships. You prepare the hull of ships to be seaworthy. And you get teamed up with a partner, and you're out there with your, your welding stuff and plates of steel and rivets or whatever else, and who knows? Could be anything, but this is a story, so just follow with me. So you get teamed up with this person, and you're working together. Let's say the person speaks a language you don't understand. Now, you have to work together. You don't understand him? How good is your work going to be? Yeah, maybe you could, get by, but hand, signals and whatever, speaking that way. But how much better would it be if you two actually spoke the same language? Well, that's how it is with you and your stone, So I guess this is really more about feedback. Not so much about the type of feedback. Mostly about the fact that feedback is there and what does it do. And the fact that I have this awesome stone. That's my point. Anyway, so when you're buying a stone and you're working with a stone, for me, feedback is a critical thing. It's a crucial part of. This is why when you go to Japan, if you're in Japan and you go to buy a stone, and you're going to spend some money, chances are they're going to bring you over to a sink and they're going to hope you brought a knife or a blade or something, and then they're going to let you try it because that's what you got to do, Sitting around worrying about stamps and air raid shelters and boxes and all that stuff. I mean, that can be like really cool, but a lot of that stuff is bullshit. A lot of that stuff is just made for the tourist trade. And some of it's straight, and some of it is indicative of real quality, high-class stone. I'm not taking away from the real stuff, but there's a lot of hoo-ha out there with, homemade stamps. I just saw a Maruichi on a website that I can tell you, hands down, it's bogus, man. It's a bogus stamp, all right? There was a guy on eBay a couple of years back selling Marukas, and they were not Marukas, okay? I emailed the guy, and he got all tripped out on me, called me all kinds of names. Well, he didn't curse or anything, but basically he just told me I was a meddler, and if I didn't like the way he did business, to just move on. And that's an awesome position for someone who's trying to scam people to take, but people on forums bought the stones and they're all like, "Whoa, look at my new Maruka." And it's like, yeah, okay. This has no stamp, and I'll put it in front of just about every Maruka I think most people can put in front of me. I have a couple in my cabinet that outdo this, but this is awesome. Forget stamps, no stamps, whatever. It's killer. Feedback is great. It's very hard. See how it's like kind of like drying up already, and it's got this matte thing. And a lot of people might think that a stone that dries quickly is softer, and that's not the case. There's a lot goes on there, and that's another video actually that you just don't need to get into those discussions. The evaporation test. I think that was invented by the guy who was telling everybody to hone with distilled water. But this is a great stone. It'll be in my store eventually, and I just want to talk about that and some feedback for a little while. I had this interesting blade out too, and it's got a nice little sort of thumb notchy cut in it and a shoulderless design. I don't talk too much about blades, but that's going to change. I'm going to get a little more into talking about individual razors and their attributes and their assets. I know I've done a bunch of videos on restoration, and there will be more of them too. I have a new one that I'm going to be working on. It's I got a shorty Wade & Butcher. Anyway, that's for another day. I'm going to get a little more granular with some popular subjects, and I'm going to expand the point of view of my channel. I've already done a little bit of that, like you saw, with the brush that I did, and I got a couple of emails like, "Oh, I wouldn't expect you to do a brush video." I've been making brushes for like 8 or 10 years, I just, I can't get everything onto my channel all at once. And to be honest, this channel did not start out to be a channel. It was just a place for my first video on repairing that Wade & Butcher, and then most of the videos that followed that were, I don't know, just sort of things I threw together. I didn't really approach this as a channel for a long time. Anyway, so there's that. Yeah, I'm still doing some brushes. You want to see something cool? Yeah, look at this. All right. I got this guy here. This is a 40 millimeter grenade shell, right? I got here this big, fat, ginormous silver tip knot, right? And this one is just made, has not been lathered, nice bulb shape. This one's bloomed already. Look at that. Same knot. They started out. This is hard for me to do because I'm looking in the mirror, so everything's reversed. So don't think I'm like weird. Anyway, this is unlathered. This is lathered once. Look at the color difference. I don't know what that's all about. This is nice and soft. I mean, it's not as soft as most silver tip because there's like so much bristlage in here. But yeah, this is the same knot. Look at that. Like just one lathering. Like look at the difference. difference. This is psychotic. All right, and compared to the pure version, yeah, here's pure. Both basically the same size. Not at the plug and tuft, but the silver tip really took off. This is an awesome brush also, okay? This is an awesome psychotic brush. So, yes, so I'm doing that. I have other brushes here too. This is a turn back, right? These are cool. These are good for travel and good for ladies who want a longer handle. And like, boom, nice compact. That knot is a custom ordered synth. I've been working with a knot guy in China, and he's basically making for me whatever I ask for. And this is the last brush. This is a 2-band Badger. Killer backbone in this. Not sure what the loft is set to, but it looks like 52. And I had this, I'm working with a woodworker here. He's making handles to my specs. And basically, so this is American black walnut made here in the USA. And the finish, want to guess what the finish is? Cashew lacquer. I had some left over after sealing stone, so I did a handle, and I forgot all about it. I put it in the back, so it's like all cured. Look at it. It came out like glass. I mean, it's not perfect. There's a bristle stuck in there somewhere, but that just lets you know that Keith did it by hand. Yeah, this is awesome. I haven't had time to post them up in my shop, but yeah, that's what I do. I make stuff, and some of it I sell, and some of it I use. My girlfriend uses some of this stuff too, and anyway, we like to have fun. Shaving's about fun. Wet shaving isn't just about straight razors, and it's not just about stones and Jnats. I have a big hone video that I'm working on, and so that'll be out in a couple of months. And it's not that big. It's just, it's taken me a while to get to it. Like a lot of these things you see, this one, if I get this up, right now it's April 15th, okay? So if I get this up in a couple of weeks, that would be cool. But like the last video I put up a couple of weeks ago, that was made in January. So, I'm always working on stuff, but it takes time to get things done. Like I said, this is a hobby for me. I got a regular job I go to every day, 9 to 5. 9 to 6, actually. Now, if you want to know the truth, I get there at 7:30, 7:40 in the morning. And I don't get home until 7 o'clock at night. So everything shaving-wise happens after that, right? Shaving is a passion. Honing is a passion. Straight razors are a passion. Don't forget DEs. I like them too. That's all stuff I'm into, but it's not my job. Anyway, oops, dropped something. Anyway, have fun. Always have fun. Take care, but always have fun. Get out there, get your blades out, get your stones wet, get some slurry going, and get into that feedback. All right? Take care. Talk to you soon.